Hi guys, I am Matthew Newton from Northern Airsofters. Today what we're going to do is we're going to quickly look at the assembly of a version 2 gearbox, and this gearbox is used in M4 variants as well as M16 variants, and there's any weapon you can think of, and I can't be asked to list it all, to be honest. So straight away we've got the wire harness in and the trigger assembly, and I don't have time to do that, so I'm going to quickly go through the basics of how to assemble a version 2 gearbox. As you can see, we have got all the bearings and shimmies in at the minute. We're going to quickly install, first of all, make sure these wires are pushed down and are following the tracks that you can see. Because if they're not, what's going to happen is they're going to get shredded by the motor. Sorry, mind went blank. Right, because this is why I've got a new wire set here, rather than this traditional red and black wire. But as you can see, on the end of them, black and red. So first of all, make sure they're pushed down and following the tracks. Install the spur gear. Make sure that moves freely round and you see it spinning. Right, then you want to get the anti-reversal latch. However, this can be a bit fiddly. As you can see here, it's got a spring. What we want to do is pop that like that, as you can see there. From there, quickly pop it in there with the spring going into that. Once I move my fingers, you'll be able to see. It's a bit fiddly. You've got to have patience with airsoft gearboxes, as it's a very fiddly thing. You can't be just complete novice at airsoft and then quickly go into it. Right, so we've got anti-reversal latch in there with the spring. Right. So we've got the sector gear here. Right, so that's spinning fine. We've got the last gear. First from that way down. Push the anti-reversal latch down. Pop it in. And then make sure that spins fine. Not going backwards. Right. What I'm going to do now is make sure that the teeth on the sector gear are not going to catch on to the piston head, because as you can see, well, not the piston, sorry. As you can see, it's got teeth that attach, or don't attach, they grip onto the other teeth. As when they spin, it's going to catch that, pull it back and forward, and they're going to get compressions, and obviously that's how an airsoft gun works. But this is quick assembly, guys. Right. From there, quickly, I keep saying quickly, but I'm not. Right, from there, I'm not going to install the trigger just yet, as it's very fiddly. From there, we're going to insert, as you can see, the top plate. So we've got the cylinder, pop that onto the cylinder nozzle, well, this is the actual nozzle, and then pop that onto, as you can see, there's like 2 cutouts, and that'll fit perfectly into the nozzle. Like so. And then attach the spring onto there, which I point with my screwdriver head, which goes onto that post there. So make sure that goes on there. It'll be a bit of a pain, so you can use a screwdriver if you want. Just hold it down, push it back. Watch out for the gears though. Make sure it fits in perfectly, as it doesn't, as well as making sure that the cylinder, the 2 holes on each side, match up with either side of the gearbox. Make sure as well, you've got the trigger assembly here. When this moves forward and backwards, you don't want that catching on the top of there, like pointing upward like that, because then it won't actually operate when you've got to pull the trigger. Right. So we've got that installed now. Now what I want to quickly do is, as you can see, we've got the piston. On the piston head you can see there's an O-ring. With that O-ring, what you want to do is remove it. This is from time to time, you don't need to do it every single time. And sometimes it shrinks and it gives you not as good compression as you should, which lowers FPS and stuff like that. So just quickly give it a nice stretch, and then pop it around the back of the head, as you can see, and make sure, see the 2 tracks in here, line up with 2 tracks in there, as you can see, and then you can see the teeth on there, 1 metal tooth, and then the rest, because usually these get worn away over the time, as most Airsoft does anyway. Right, so we pop the spring in. This gearbox is actually from an SRC SR4. SRC is usually a good brand, but however, I've been very troubled by what I've got at the minute, but however, I'm not going to get onto that. Right, so that's not lining up. Right, that'll be fine. From there, we've got this spring guide, which has 2, as you can see, bits that protrude, and what they're going to do is catch on the inside gearbox at the back. As you see, there's a little hole where that'll sit, which will keep the spring guide still. Pop it in, make sure you do it very carefully, and for the last bit, we've got the trigger. The trigger is quite a nuisance to get in at times, because you've got quite a strong little spring, and I'll show you now. There's a little hole at the back there, and then it protrudes out the front like that. And you've got to make sure the spring goes in that hole and then fits around the trigger. So it fits around there, and then you can just hopefully slide it into the hole at the front. Make sure that goes behind the trigger assembly, as this has been quite difficult. Right, as you can see, that came out. That's quite an issue, quite a lot of time. What you can do is bend it back, or bend it downwards so it'll fit in easier. What I'm quickly going to do is just hold the trigger down, and then so I've got the whole gearbox together. Push it down and then test if the trigger works. Yeah, that's fine. Make sure the wires push downwards. Gears will all sit properly. Make sure that's not... oh god, that's going to get in the way. As I said before, you've got to make sure you have a lot of patience with Airsoft. That's came out there. Right. Now put the rest top shell. Push back on the spring guide, and then push down, make sure it's all clicked together. And as you can see, I'll show you in a sec. As you can see, they're not all aligned. So what you can do is put your screwdriver in there, push it in, get it aligned, and do the same there so they're all fitting perfectly. Right, so as you can see, this gearbox perfectly put together. Well, not perfect, I'm not perfect. I'm quite crap at doing this actually, but it's just a quick little assembly guide on how to do it. As you see SRC there, but this one, my old gearboxes, I just thought I'd show you, and then just pop all the screws in really, and then it's ready to go back into the receiver. And then obviously get your pistol grip on, put the 2 screws back in, and then wire this up to the motors. Obviously with the red being, that's where the positive is going to be. Pop it on there, and then negative. And you're all sorted really, guys. Thanks for watching, and you've been watching Northern Airsofters.